Hey guys, welcome back. Just got off of a live stream and then we did a video chat, a couple of us afterwards. You'll never guess what some of the common threads were. We're going to get into that today. Guys, if you're liking the content, please like, subscribe, and comment. Yay! And as you know, Lynn and I are only doing this as a pay it forward. So it's interesting to be talking to some of the guys during the live chat, as well as doing more of a private video chat afterwards. And the talk, of course, moved on to certain things that we all find common. And there was a lot of nodding around the table when we were all talking about whether to use insurance for medical or whether to use self-funding, in other words, cash in the bank. And overwhelmingly, it was cash in the bank. And why? Because it was also about being able to cover other people. That insurance that you're looking at is likely only going to cover you. It's going to be expensive. Maybe it's worth it to you. But at the end of the day, we found that the idea of having that cash in a bank was more advantageous for me, for my wife, for my family, and also if it was a bug out situation where, no, I've got now a heart condition or cancer or whatever, and I've got to go back. I want to get back to my native country where I have a different kind of medical system, right? So I think that was very important. It was interesting that all of us kind of came to, very similar conclusions on how to money manage, etc. What was interesting to me, though, was the number of people there that, geez, it appears that maybe if they were in a heavy financial or medical situation, that they can't go home. And, I can't point to any specific scenario that was common with them, but there was a number that have got themselves in such a financial situation that that they couldn't go home, and that was a little bit disconcerting. I hope that's a little bit of me misinterpreting what's being said. Maybe it's more just a choice that they would choose not to go home regardless. But when the subject was brought up about maybe having to go home to deal with medical, there was there was a few people pushing back on it, saying, why bother? So anyway, but that does come down to personal choice, right? What seems to be still lost, even with the vloggers, is this notion of where the currency rates are. And I get a little flabbergasted by that, because quite often a lot of the conversation is around how are you handling now that the currency rates are lower. So I would come full circle on that and say that if you're not managing your money well enough, and part of that savings isn't keeping savings aside for the low periods where the exchange rates are bad, where you can either ride through or supplement through those lean times, then you're going to get frustrated with the country that you're living in. And I don't mean just the Philippines. If your whole objective is to get a better quality of life, then you're going to go through periods where that quality of life is going to start you questioning why you're living there. So savings is critical, guys. Chris was mentioning that they're living on just under 40,000 pesos. Pretty tough. Pretty tough. Now, I know he does have savings, and I know that, there's no dipping into it, right? So that's good. That's critical. But there are going to be times where it's up and down, and you need to deal with that. So what else did we talk about? Well, we also talked about the one I like to talk about a lot, and that is pace of life. The Philippines offers a lot slower pace of life. And, Lynn will hear me say this, and she knows it. After I'm back in Canada for about 3.5 months, I start to get to that point of wanting to go back. The pace of life of Canada starts to pick up. I start to notice it more and start to get influenced by it more. And so that's something that I notice a lot. So I find it very important to find ways to ground myself while I'm in Canada, and whereas I don't need to do that in the Philippines. Um, I find, the joke is that the Philippines is still back in 1965. And in many ways it is. You still see kids playing with the tire and the stick, going down the road. You still see kids doing authentic play, not organized play. Kids still play a lot in Canada, but it's more organized play. It's not just random play. So pace of life, that was something that we talked about today. It was interesting. We talked a little bit about, where to live and all of that type of thing. And honestly, that really does come down to choice. I still feel that you need to get yourself grounded by being in either Cebu or Angeles. That's just my feeling. Of course, if you've met a lady and you want to live closer to her family, etc., then you're likely heading in that direction. But if you're going there to get yourself set up, you're single, or maybe you're a couple, maybe you're a Western couple, to be able to start that adjustment process, I feel having enough Western around you is still critical to do that adjustment, so that by the time you're ready to make maybe a provincial move, a lot less pace again, that you know where to go to get your Western when you need it. Okay. For me, my benchmark has always been movies. It's been kind of a half of a joke when it comes to the movies. But if you think about where there are theaters and where there are not theaters, you suddenly start realizing how many foreigners you're going to have around you as far as your adjustment goes. The other thing is the lessening of politics. That was kind of the other topic that was skirted over a little bit, but you could read between the lines on it. And that is getting away from your country's politics. For a lot of people, it's driving you crazy. And you can still get that news through the YouTube. So if you think you're getting away from it, you're not going to. And you can either continue to complain about it, or you can take a deep breath and just say, you know what? This is life number 2 in the same carcass that I have now. I'm going to live a second life and go embrace the culture, see the cultural differences. Don't have to live the culture 100%, but embrace it and move into it. So there we go. That's kind of the gist of my take on various conversations that I was seeing during the live stream, and then some of a conversation post live stream during the video chat. It was all good. It was all fun. Anyway, guys, again, if you like the content, please like it. That would be appreciated. And have a great day. Later, Gators.